This week on Today's Homeowner, we're tackling America's favorite topic, storage, for some great ideas to improve your home and cut the clutter right here.
I'm almost
Are you scared? Are you scared for me to open it? Oh,
Be kind.
You know, I hear homeowners say all the time, I wish I had more closet space. Well, it might be that the closet space you have is not being utilized as well as it could be. That's exactly what we're about to prove to homeowner Gail Alexander.
All right, Danny, this was the closet that we're trying to do something. I'm almost scared for you to open it.
Are you scared for me to open it?
Oh, yeah, I would say you're using almost every bit of it there.
As much as I can. You know, that's the problem with these houses in this neighborhood. This is such a great neighborhood, but the closets are so small.
We can figure a few things out here that I know we can improve it a lot. We've done a lot of closets like this. Of course, it depends a lot on how you use it, whether it's more long-hanging things or short things, and whether or not you need cubicles, that kind of stuff. But I'll tell you, let's go ahead and get, I'll do some measuring, and I'll let you do some writing.
Oh, good.
And draw you a little picture there, and then we'll see what we have here. You know what, another thing, these bypass doors are so frustrating because they always are problematic as far as actually working, and also you can only see half the closet.
And they come loose.
Yeah, and they're always hanging like that. So I think we'll measure it, but most of these we can trim down a little bit and actually put hinges on each side to where they open up.
That would help. Thank you. That's
All right,
great.
let's see what we can do here. All right, let's see. We're 8 foot tall, and we're about 65 inches long. So that's going to be a little tricky. We have to cut just a little off of each one of them, but if we get a quarter off here, and the other one, that's a full inch. That's just what we need.
Great.
All right, let me get rid of this.
Okay.
And then the hard part, pulling all of this stuff out of here.
Oh, no.
Geez.
Well,
Tight up. Actually has a little shoe rack down there already.
right.
You know, that's really not a bad idea, because that's the kind of space that, you know, you can tuck shoes along there. You can see them, you know, if you have this, you know, shaped right where you can see everything. So, hey, we'll be able to utilize that. I think we'll be able to save that. But the color, you know, it could be a much lighter color and certainly give you a lot more light in there.
Well, there's nothing like airing your laundry in front of everybody, is there?
That's okay. Everybody has a closet like this. Once the clothes were cleared, we could remove the old shelves, hardware, and the track for that bypass door. The new material for the closet is outside, so that's where we map out our plan for the new design to maximize all the space available. I'll tell you what, this isn't a whole lot of carpentry work to do. I'll go ahead and take care of that. If you don't mind doing a little painting, you can start priming that dark color inside.
Okay.
That sound good? All
That
right.
sounds great.
You do that, I'll take care of this.
All right, thanks.
Okay, all righty. You know, all these alterations on the closet are going to help a lot, but there's so many clothes in there. Might be time for a yard sale. These pre-primed shelf boards should lighten things up, and once Gail finishes priming and painting the closet, it'll really be bright. For the shelf boards, medium density fiberboard, or MDF, works really well. But for the wall cleats, you'll want to use just regular lumber like 1x4s and 1x2s for the strength that it has. Now, while the paint in the closet dries, Gail helps me cut down the existing doors so that we can mount them on hinges. We're removing about 5/8 of an inch from each one so that they'll fit side by side in the opening.
Now, when you take it off, though, will the innards of the door be exposed?
Well, look right here. But with hollow core doors like this, you have to be sure you don't compromise the solid wood perimeter. A good closet layout starts with a level line on the inside wall for the first cleat. Then you build from there. Whether you use a nail gun, an old-fashioned hammer, or screws, be sure you hit the studs. While we're adding some vertical cleats to support the hanging rods, I discovered that Gail may be a finished carpenter in the making. This is where you get to make your nail gun debut.
Oh, all right.
She's really starting to get into this as we put in the sweater shelves on the side of the closet, and soon we're ready for caulk, putty, and a little more paint. To complete the conversion of the closet doors, I start by scribing the edge of them with a butt marker. This makes it easier to mortise out the shape of a door hinge with a chisel. To get the measurement for the casing side of the hinges, you simply add 1/8 of an inch to the distance you measure down from the top of the door and repeat the mortising process. On the top edge of each door, opposite the hinges, we add a roller ball catch to hold the door in place when it's closed. Now we're ready to hang the doors. Make a few adjustments, perfect right there, and add door stops to the casing. On the front of the doors, we're adding dummy knobs to make opening them a lot easier. Inside the closet, the hardware can finally go in to complete the project. The hanging rods, assorted hooks and hangers, and a full-length mirror for the door. All total, we've only spent $150 to completely transform this closet. All right, Gail, looks like we're pretty well wiped down and ready for you to stock back up your closet. Don't you think you'll get a lot more use out of this?
I know I will. It looks great too. I'm so excited about getting stuff in. So you're ready to help me with that?
Yeah, well, I don't know about that. That might take a little while and a little finesse to do that. But a couple good ideas. You have the shelving here, you have the double rods now, you have the mirror, you have the hooks and everything. But
right.
We have another idea. I know you probably wondered what we were doing with these earlier. Well, traditionally you would use something like this in a kitchen to kind of utilize the space. So we thought utilizing these here would be something that you could put, wallets or anything small, and then the florist foam that we have here, you could put like brooches or pins or things like that, and then you'll be able to access that and still have room on the shelf, but just thought it'd be a little something extra.
Well, wait a minute. I've got one thing. I've got to initiate the closet. So hang on. I just got to get something.
Oh, now how long have you had Davy Jones clothes
Davey's
hanger?
been with me, I think I was 10 years old, and I bought it at a yard sale, and he's been in every closet, so.
Well, there we go. It's official.
It's official, it's my closet, and it's beautiful. Thank you, Dan.
Sure.
When working on a ladder, it's nice to have some place to store your cordless drill to keep it from falling and crashing to the floor. Here's one idea. Make a little holster from a piece of vinyl downspout, or in this case, I actually cut it from an elbow. I didn't have any downspout, so I went out and bought this elbow for just a couple of dollars, and I cut it with a hacksaw. And the nice thing about that is, you can just screw it right to the ladder. This is a couple of two 5/8 inch long screws with washers on it. You don't want them too long, so they don't go through the ladder, of course. And you want to make sure you pre-drill a pilot hole so you don't split the wooden rail. And the other important thing is you have to keep this high enough so that the metal braces, when the ladder's folded shut, the braces will clear this. Okay, so once you have it screwed in place, it's just a nice place to store your drill. It's also important to lock the trigger so that if it rests on the trigger, you won't drain the battery. But now you can work safely on the ladder, and if you're going up and down and shaking the ladder, the drill won't fall out.
This week we're digging into storage solutions, and I've been helping homeowner Gail Alexander convert a dysfunctional 60s closet into a space she can really use. With some elbow grease and a little paint, lumber and hardware, we've made a pretty big difference, and now she's moving her stuff back in. Hey, let's see what she thinks.
Danny, I'm really excited to show you what I've done.
Oh, how'd everything turn out in here?
It's great. I've got so much room for my shirts and my pants, and then, I've got this room here to work in. I still got some more stuff to load in, though.
Yeah, do you think you had enough space for the long hanging things? I know you had some question as to whether or not that would be enough.
It is, because most of the stuff I wear is separate, it's not dresses, so this is great.
Okay, and I know you still have a little bit of space left here with, what do you think about the little Lazy Susan idea? You think it'll work?
I think it's going to be great. It's going to help me keep a little bit more organized.
And you can even see the shoe rack now. Before you couldn't see the shoes.
It'll be a lot easier to get dressed in the mornings.
Well, you mentioned to me a while back about you'd love to develop some space in your attic. Alan's dropping by in a little bit. We're going to get up in that hot attic and see what we can do there. Any idea how old you think this house is?
Judging by the tile in the bathroom, I'd say it was built in the early to mid-60s.
Let's see, I got a light on right here. Pretty typical. Whoa, look at this right here. Come on up. I don't know if you want to be on those stairs. Check this out. Looks like they had it tied off somewhere, and now they got it tied off with just a piece of chain like that. And you know what? There's no lag bolts in this thing. There's always supposed to be lags tying it into the framing. Not a one of them here.
Oh, did you see this? Look at the ductwork here. It's crushed.
You always see that, I guess, where they had stored some stuff there from time to time. But there's still a fair amount of space over here I can probably, we might be able to remove this and transfer that weight
Oh
elsewhere.
wow, Danny, look right there. Look at the ductwork.
Oh man. And that's an active piece of ductwork too, isn't it? Man, they'll be glad we came up here and found that out. We'll have to definitely fix that for them, but maybe we can wait till after we finish the
I'm
work
okay
in the
with
attic.
that.
Get a little bit of cold air out in there.
like
But
it.
well, let me just measure this out. We'll leave all the ductwork in place. Definitely fix that ductwork and see what we can develop right in this space here. Rather than decking right on top of the ceiling joist in the attic, we're going to build a frame above it with these 2x4s so we don't compress the insulation. I guess when you was a kid, they didn't have electricity and you had to use a handsaw, is that right? Must have been rough back then. A whole sheet of plywood almost never fits into an attic opening, so we're cutting them down a bit into 2-foot strips so that we can get them up into the space. Before we can start the new attic floor, we have to remove some of the old improvised decking left by previous owners so that we can build our new framework right on top of the ceiling joist. My conscience won't let me leave that leaky duct alone for long though, even though it's keeping us kind of cool here in the attic. It's costing Gail money every single minute it's open. Then once we finish the framing for the new deck, we add some extra insulation where the old stuff has already been packed down. So this attic will be more efficient in terms of space and energy use. Now we can add those 2-foot wide pieces of 1/2-inch plywood, tack them down with a few screws to create some very useful floor space up here. We're also fixing those safety issues with the attic access door before we call Gail to check out the changes. Hey Gail, you need to come on up and take a look at this and see what you think.
This is great. Look at all this space that we've got now.
See, it's about 5 foot by 7 foot or so. And what we did is we put 2x4s on top of the ceiling joist, put insulation inside there so that you're not, sacrificing any of the insulation. And then if you decide later you need more space, you can continue the same idea that way, any other way.
Well, we needed this extra space. You saw that closet.
Yeah,
so,
you had a little extra stuff there that needed to go
you
somewhere.
ready to go down and go help me get some
I'll
Christmas
be glad
decorations?
to help you with a few boxes here.
Okay, well, that'd be great.
Good.
One of the things I love about spring is getting my spring planting done. And if you've got that on your agenda for your spring, take a look at this. Now, this is the Big Wheel Cart by Rubbermaid, and as the name would imply, it's got some pretty big wheels here. And that's what I like best about it, because it's going to make maneuverability around the yard very easy to do. And also, look at this large capacity. Now, unlike typical wheelbarrows, you've got just a small area. Look at this. You can hold up to 7.5 cubic feet of material, and if you mount it, you can get over 8 cubic feet of material. Plus, the thing is, it's very sturdy, so it can hold a lot of weight, up to 300 pounds. So not only are you able to put potting soil in there in your plants, but you can also put mulch, you can put stone, if you're gonna be doing some of that in your landscaping. Again, the construction is very sturdy, so it's gonna hold up over time, and if you just need to store it outside, it's not gonna rust or break down. This is just a great thing to have on hand if you're like me and you like to do a lot of gardening.
Well, we certainly helped Gail with 2 key areas of her home to maximize all of the storage space she had in her bedroom closet, as well as creating a little bit of extra space for storage in the attic. Now, the attic's a little limited on what you can put there with the lack of hanging space, and you got to be careful what you move up and down a set of stairs like that, which brings about another challenge that many homeowners have. When you have larger items to store, like bicycles, lawnmowers, and other lawn and garden equipment, where does it go? Well, it's time to start thinking about an outdoor storage building. These structures come in all shapes and sizes. Some are made from durable plastics and just snap together in your backyard, while others are constructed from standard building materials, packaging kits that you can buy at the home center. You can even buy a larger custom building, which is prefabricated in a factory and delivered to your home in large sections so that it goes up in just a few hours. Several years ago, our own Joe Truini wrote a how-to book about constructing these outbuildings, so he's our resident expert on this subject.
The big advantage of building it a custom one is you can build it any size you want, and you can pick and choose the finish and the material.
Recently, Joe talked with a homeowner who had to improvise when the building he already had ran out of room.
This was here when we bought the house.
Pretty good,
Which
nice.
was, I was excited about, because as you can see, it's
Nice
you know,
size, yeah.
It's about 12 by 16. And the thing I was excited about was I'd always use my garage as a workshop. You know,
Right.
you got to put stuff away at the
Yeah,
end of the day
right.
so the kids don't get into it. Here, you know, if I'm in the middle of something, I could quit, walk out the door, close the door.
And I love the fact this is wide open. Very seldom do you see a shed that's not packed full of stuff, right?
Well, it wasn't that way too long ago, because what we figured out too was, you know, oh, there's this open space, so the lawnmower gets parked in here, and then
You
the
use it
pressure
up pretty
washer.
quickly. Right, yeah, the wheelbarrow. Right.
And so what I found was anytime I wanted to come in here and work, I had to move all this stuff out into the yard before I could ever start working.
Where did it all go?
Well, it went in the yard for a while,
Right.
and then I came up with this idea to build an addition, basically to the shed. And so we kind of refer to this as the lawn and garden shed attached to the workshop.
Right. Oh, that's great.
Because the original structure was built on a treated 2x6 floor system, Scott and his sons built the floor for their addition from the same material. Since it was only 4 feet by 10 feet, they built it on the ground before attaching it to the existing shed with long lag bolts. After they attached the treated plywood decking to the floor, Scott laid out and built the walls for the addition before he set them in place. Then they leveled and secured them to the floor and to the shed walls. All the rafters were also attached to a ledger board before they went up over the addition. The new roof matched the slope of the shed roof, but it tied in slightly lower on the wall to simplify the building process. Flashing was added along that wall to keep the water out. Next, the sheet siding for the addition was nailed directly to the studs to quickly enclose the space. So after some shingles and a few trim boards were added, the structure was complete. To create the odd-sized door, Scott used some plywood with 1x4s attached to the face to add extra strength and match the existing shed doors. The final touch was a ramp to allow easy access to the inside of the addition.
It's only about 4 feet wide, but you can see it's plenty of space. You have a power washer and a lawnmower. I love that elevated shelf.
Yeah,
that would be dead space otherwise way back there.
Well, and there's just tons of little small stuff that you use around the lawn and garden all the time. And so the great thing is it's out of the weather.
Right.
It's safe. You can lock it up.
I love the idea you put in. I like the idea you put in vents there to keep that area a little cooler.
Yeah,
Get hot
exactly.
back,
Well,
yeah.
you know, when you store gasoline in there and that kind of thing, you don't want that stuff to all those vapors to accumulate in there.
Yeah.
And you know, we wanted it to look good, so we set it back from the front so you couldn't necessarily see it.
Yeah, and
and
that's
then
plenty deep enough too. You don't need to be any deeper.
Oh,
It
no.
gives you room for the ramp. Otherwise, the ramp would stick out. So it's nice to set it back.
Exactly.
Put it on the back side.
And then we put a coat of paint on the thing after we
looks
got done
good.
to make it look a little better. And we still have to finish the ramp. We're going to build the ramp
next
here.
project.
Yeah, to match that one. That'll be in a little bit better shape. And
You have a project ready to go now?
you know, I have a long list of projects. I just don't ever have the time to get to them, it seems like.
Yeah, I understand that.
Jason asks, is there any advantage to painting a garage floor?
One advantage in painting a garage floor is it looks a heck of a lot better and it's easier to keep clean. But you have to prepare any surface you're painting, particularly a garage floor that has oil spots all over it and probably has never really been cleaned very well. So you need to take care of oil spots by using a degreaser and then a masonry cleaner for the rest of the surface. You'll probably want to do it one day and allow it to dry overnight before you apply your paint or your coating. Now there's a lot of different types of garage paints out there. Not that expensive, fairly easy project to complete, but what I would recommend you use is an epoxy coating. And you can create a very nice non-skid surface by adding either sand or some of the decorative sprinkles so that you end up with an awesome looking floor and one that's a lot safer to walk on. Storage is an important issue to almost every homeowner I've ever met. Whether you need to declutter a closet and make it more useful and attractive, add a little off-season storage up in the attic, or create a place out back to park the lawnmower and other garden tools. Hey, I hope you enjoyed this week's show. You know the list of storage ideas and tips is endless. I'm Danny Lipford. We'll see you next week right here on Today's Homeowner.